It's the Bush League Mud Show.
It's the Bush League Mud Show. Let's go.
Are you ready?
Make some noise!
All right, yo, what is up? It is another edition of the Bush League Mud Show. Slade
PJ
giving you your AEW Dynamite review for January 19th of 2022. This Dynamite was live in D.C. at the Entertainment and Sports Arena, a venue that I did not know honestly existed in D.C., a very small venue. You could tell that immediately from the camera shots around the arena. And real quick, be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and also be sure to follow us on social media. We promise we'll follow back at Bush League MS Pod. So DC, small venue, and from what I understand, this was a sellout.
Okay.
Even though it was a small venue, but this venue, I guess for AEW, a sellout for them would have been around about 3,500, 4,000. So that's where we were for this. So it was they were trying to really make this a big night. I felt they kind of took a little bit of a downgrade last week compared to the week before. So they were trying to make up for it on this show. And I thought for the most part that this show was like bird shit, man. It was all over the place because I felt that we were trying to cram a lot into a very small space while cramming a lot too in terms of trying to squeeze in other people that maybe we haven't seen for the last several weeks, and in some cases maybe months on live AEW television. But big night here. This was all based around the return that everyone was looking forward to.
Was
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that one.
No.
Yeah, that one.
No, we're just bullshitting. We knew that he was only going to be out for a week, but the big return for former AEW champion Jon Moxley. And look, we had talked about this over the last couple of weeks of the Bush League Mud Show podcast that I just didn't feel that it would be good business or a good look at all that the first time that we see Jon Moxley actually make a return would be this weekend at the GCW event over being on AEW television. So they made this thing happen. Tony Khan, maybe this was the plan all along. I mean, of course, we knew Moxley was not going to be in a match or anything like that, but made sure that if he was going to return, the first time we saw him was going to be on AEW programming like it should have been.
Correct.
So this is the first time in nearly 3 months that we had seen Moxley since he had undergone the alcohol rehabilitation treatment. Mm-hmm. And it was great to have him back. And visually, he looked good. He looked good. He looked like he had slimmed up and had cleaned up a little bit. Of course, the crowd was really excited to see him. And he comes down, and immediately, as with this is something that he does have that a lot of people in the business don't have in today's era of professional wrestling. When they grab the mic, the crowd shuts the fuck up because it's now time to hang on their every word because you want to hear what they have to say.
Well, especially in this instance, he is returning.
A return.
People want to hear from him. He has stayed out of the limelight. He hasn't given any interviews or anything since he's been out of rehab. So, I mean, this was his first public comments.
Now, on the way out for Moxley, it was kind of seemed like they were itching to maybe turn him heel.
Yes.
At some point soon. Well, of course, this happens with him going to rehab. He's back now. I don't see him turning heel anytime soon now.
No.
It wouldn't be smart to. The fans are excited to see him back, and knowing what he's gone through. He went to rehab. He's got a wife. He's got a daughter now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things, a little bit more we know about him personally with demons and stuff that he's had to deal with. So this is not the time.
No.
That ship has sailed for the time being. But he grabbed the mic. He's getting ready to cut his promo. And it wasn't too long into this that he found himself being heckled by someone in this crowd. And a big-time can of sardines, this small venue here. I mean, you could pretty much hear anybody in this arena.
I mean, every time the ref hit the mat, you heard the count. I mean, you could hear the ring slam. It was either small or the acoustics are very good in this arena. So, I mean, yes. And the heckler, you could hear I don't know what the heckler said, but you could hear it audibly through just the audio mics that the TV was picking up, not the main mic.
Yeah. AEW clearly does not use the 7-second delay.
Oh, no.
They probably will going forward.
Yep.
After he was heckled by the fan, Moxley proceeded to tell that fan to go fuck himself and get that piece of shit out of there. So, completely uncensored on this live broadcast of AEW. Now, no word. I don't know if this fan was actually escorted out or not, but there was no more heckling during the promo. He talked about having this dream, PJ, where a demon told him that he would never make it. And you know, in the beginning of this, I'm going to be honest, there are a lot of people that applauded this promo.
Yeah.
I thought it was very, very eerie. And my thing, and I had no problem with the tone. I had no problem with the direction. I had no problem with where we wanted to go with it. But it started off kind of like, again, I always use the reference bird shit, kind of like all over the place, like, all right, where are we going here? Yeah. And I told you, I said, sometimes I feel without needing to, that Moxley, that we have this thing where we must go over the top.
Yes.
To get you more to buy in that he is this unhinged person, which I don't think we need that at times.
No.
So, but he talked about this, talked about how he has more scars on his body than most people, and those are things that tell our story. And he talked more and more about no one's perfect. No one should be afraid to stand up and bear it all. And then he proceeded to talk about how he is going to be going on a pilgrimage and how he is going to, in the year of 2022, he is going to take the world of professional wrestling by the balls because he is truly free. No one can hurt him or put him through anything more worse than what he's already been through. Mm-hmm. And all he drinks is blood, and we went on this whole thing. So basically we're going to see even more, I'm going to guess, a more vicious Jon Moxley in 2022, which will probably be mean more barbed wire, death matches, more cutting, more blading, more tables, more thumbtacks, more explosions. But, you know, hey, I thought for return, I graded on a curve in terms of this segment. It was refreshing to see a Dynamite start off that didn't involve Danielson or Adam Cole or anything. It was nice to just, it felt refresh in the beginning because we haven't seen him in almost 3 months. Where we go from here in terms of the first program, now we got an inkling, or we pretty much got a confirmation of who the first match will be, which will be immediate for Jon Moxley. You can check that out this Friday on Rampage. But in terms of the meaningful feud angle, that is yet to come. But I do think, like right now, we don't need to see Jon Moxley, I don't think, in the world title picture just yet. I think there's still maybe some unfinished business still left on the table with he and Eddie Kingston. Since he's been gone, we've seen a few others that have joined the stable at AEW. And I think right now, and you know, we have our thing, just like we give WWE the business, we give AEW justified stuff too. But I think positionally, compared to where they were even just 3 to 6 months ago, they're in much better shape talent-wise on the roster, where, okay, we can put Moxley in more meaningful stuff that I can buy into, I guess, and we want to see.
This promo to me was a little troubling.
Okay.
I'm not a psychiatrist by any means. I don't think he should be out there right now. Just from the first couple when he was rambling along and trying to get it going, you could see a little bit where he was struggling a little bit trying to, and I know it's a very personal thing that he's trying to bring up and relate and get over with the crowd with this promo and all that. I think he still needs a little time away. Quite honestly, I was a little troubled by the promo. It gave me Jake the Snake, born again Jake the Snake, mid-90s, when he was going to that program with Stone Cold vibes. When Jake was, okay, I'm born again, I'm not doing that stuff anymore.
While he was still allegedly buying crack in Stanford.
He was still and I'm not alleging that Jon is doing any of that.
No. This is stuff that had stories that have come out about Jake around that time, that Jake still was not in a good place.
It started out that he was. I don't know if he was totally comfortable yet
of
getting it out, and to me it looked a little like I think he needs a little more time. I know he wants to get back there and do what he loves, but I think he was kind of in a struggle a little bit against himself. I think
I didn't see it as that necessarily. I didn't think of it in that way. I just thought of it maybe as just a guy who's been gone for a couple of months and trying to come back and make an impact without being in-ring action, cutting the promo. I just chalked it up more to just mic rust, a little bit of mic rust more than anything, Yeah. I didn't think I don't think that they would and he was given the blessing to take as much time off as he needed.
But again, with the booking of the other event, did that force this a little bit? And I know they're all open to working all over the place, but maybe he wanted to work that smaller event first, not be on national TV right away. Maybe that was the route he wanted to go and then come back on Dynamite. And that's where, like we said, Tony Khan's got to kind of squash that because you're one of our cash cows, and we actually need you on this program more than this this indie show that no one's going to watch in this week.
Well, what I'm more interested in right now is just, and I know they'll find a spot for him.
Yeah.
There will be something that will be meaningful that they'll slide him into within the next couple of weeks. That is what I'm more, because again, like I said, I think even since he's been gone, they're in a better place on the card where you don't have to see certain individuals on national TV that you knew were not ready for national TV.
Yeah.
They've kind of started to filter that out now. Mm-hmm. That's what Dark and Elevation is for. And now, for the most part, the roster is coming into fruition in terms of getting everything to gel. So we'll see with that. After this, we get a backstage segment. It is MJF and Wardlow standing side by side. And MJF, he talks about CM Punk needing to steal a win. How after so many power bombs and just laying there and all that CM Punk needed to steal a win off of Wardlow by using the hair and the trunks to score the victory. Okay. Who he says that Wardlow could have prevented had he have had more seasoning. This was just an absolute hilarious, backhanded, complimentary type of promo, as you would expect from MJF. Now, as soon as he talked about the seasoning, this got Wardlow the first time to kind of perk his eyes over and make a facial expression. I thought Wardlow's facials were great throughout this whole thing. But then MJF, he turned his attention for this week and talked about how it is Wardlow's birthday. Happy birthday to Wardlow, number 34, I believe. And if I'm not mistaken, there were reports from last week that WWE there were people backstage who were really impressed by Wardlow and really like him and really want to try to go after him. But he's 34, so under the new criteria of what we want in the company, he doesn't meet those,
He's in
I know.
He's in that territory. He's in the gray area, so we'll find out.
Poking fun at some stupid bullshit going on in New York right now. But anyways, he talked about that, and because of the fact that it is his birthday, MJF offered him not just any gift, but a gift that can hit him right in the feels. A sincere apology for losing it on Wardlow the previous week. And Wardlow, this turned it around temporarily. Wardlow, it seemed like it was very genuine. He said, not only have you been a very loyal employee of mine so far, I consider you to be a really good friend. And Wardlow really appreciated that. But MJF said that he needed to basically set the tone for the locker room. He needed to, in order to avoid looking bad and to set an example and not, like I said, not look bad in front of the entire AEW locker room. He's got to dock Wardlow's pay for putting his hands on him. And this, of course, got Wardlow to look at him in a funky way again, which of course, this is something, once the turn happens, this is going to be something that's going to get a pretty big loud pop.
Yes,
very old school type of pop, because that's what kind of heel heat MJF has. He moves on to Shawn Spears, who he says is going to hand PG Punk, as he referred to him, his first loss in AEW. And also, this was a match that he was planning on teaching Wardlow a lesson with. So that was still to come.
Oh, yes, it was.
First match of the night, we got your standard AEW fast, fly, high-risk maneuver, finisher type maneuver match going on. We got the mixed tag match of Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus the team of Orange Cassidy and Kris Statlander. Now, look, first time Adam Cole and Britt Baker, they're teaming together.
Yeah.
So we knew that this was not going to end in a loss for these two, right? I mean, we knew this. This match started off with the ladies in the ring, but Baker, she immediately tagged her boo in. Cole comes in, and then he fucks with Cassidy and tags out. So that means Statlander now has to come back in. And then we've got of course, the lazy kick spot from Cassidy in this match that earned himself a stump to the food. Statlander, she ends up coming in to slam a posing Britt Baker. She's taunting, so she gets slammed by Statlander. And then she attempts to go for the Big Bang Theory a little bit too early in the match, though. So we get back to the men who get back in the action here. Cassidy hits Cole with a tornado DDT that sent Cole to the outside, back inside the ring. Statlander, she hits a suplex on Baker, and then Cassidy is shoving it over. Cassidy then hits a pretty rather low dive, I guess. It was a little. It wasn't the best, but he hit it on Cole before stopping for a pose himself. Of course, this got a nice little reaction from the crowd, but Orange Cassidy should know better than that. Mm-hmm. This allowed Baker and Cole to super kick him down. And, of course, they gave you that little spot with the kiss. Yes. That sent us to a commercial break. We came down. Back in the action after the break, Cassidy, he's got Cole down. The women, they come back into this match. We get a Blue Thunder Bomb from Statlander, but it was only good enough for 2, and then a neck breaker that took Statlander down from Baker. And then we get back to Cole, who gets a super kick to Cassidy's knee. And then he proceeded to hit an enziguri on Cassidy. Baker, she ends up with a blind tag, breaks up a beach break and stomp Cassidy down. Statlander then kicks her in the face and hits what I'm guessing was a Falcon Arrow. This was only good enough for 2. Statlander ends up loading up for the Area 451 splash, but Cole, doing what any loving and caring man would do, goes to cover up Baker. Statlander didn't give a fuck. She decided to hit the Area 451 anyways on both of them. She landed on the back of Cole. And then we got some super kicks in there. Baker, back on the offense, she takes Statlander to the ramp, hits a Canadian Destroyer.
Yeah, that was a confusing setup here.
She hit the Canadian Destroyer.
And somehow after Britt hit it, she was somehow laid out. And I'm like, that's not how the move works.
Yeah, it was a little funky. It was not an awful looking one. It was just it landed. It was a little awkward. But anyways, we get back into the ring, and I thought the way the cameras were kind of like cutting back and forth, I didn't mind the camera work. Cole was able to hit Cassidy with the Panama Sunrise. This was the biggest issue in this match.
Yes.
It was only good enough for a damn 2 when it just should have been the end of this match. But we should have known better because we grabbed a tape. So, Panama Sunrise for the 2. That was my biggest issue with this match.
Well, mine was the setup of the move. The cameras jumped a little quick, and you saw Cassidy just bend over and just walk towards the ropes. I'm like, no, you don't want to see how it's like sausage. You don't want to see how it's made. So I was just like, don't walk over there and show that.
That's more on the truck. That's more on the crew in the truck than Cassidy.
But the 2 count 2 got me. It's like, okay, this move has taken out so much. It's helped him win a championship in other places against bigger guys. And here against Orange Cassidy, he cannot get a 3 count on this move. That's where it was like, well, what's it going to take to win this match?
Yeah, well, I thought his facial looked good after, the kick out on the 2 from the Panama Sunrise. And that was when Cole was frustrated and he decided he needed to load up a table at ringside because, of course, like I said before, as I mentioned, because we need tables, of course, in this kind of match. Only to have Cassidy accidentally knock Baker through the table.
In the softest table spot I ever saw in my life.
It was a very soft one,
yes.
but it was enough to get Adam Cole very livid, which got him to low blow into the boom for pin on Orange Cassidy. So, like I said, there was no doubt that
they had to win.
They were going to win this, but the way that this ended, this now 2 pinfalls on Cassidy for Cole, so you think that this feud is over. There's no reason for these two to continue. But we ended up finding out a little bit later that no, it is not. We'll fill you in here in a little bit. I thought the match went a little bit longer than necessary, and I think we go back to that 2 count on the Panama Sunrise. Yeah. I think it should have ended there. But I mean, it wasn't anything that we haven't seen before on AEW. They usually kick off Dynamites with these kind of matches, whether they're mixed tag or regular tag or whatever. 6-man, 8-man, 20-man, doesn't matter. Yeah. Teddy Long would love to be an AEW.
He would. He'd be, perfect general manager for that.
Because he would make, 12-man, 16-man, 17 and a half, 18 and a quarter, tag team match. He just, we get a backstage segment. Alex Marvez, I don't know, I'm going to assume Tony said he didn't want to do as many backstage segments this week or something. We saw Alex Marvez back on AEW Dynamite programming. I want to say I haven't seen him for several plus weeks, right?
In a couple weeks, maybe he's been on the NFL beat writing. Yeah. I don't know, maybe that's the deal, I don't know.
So he's backstage with some members of the Inner Circle. That was Chris Jericho and Santana and Ortiz, and Jericho tells Eddie Kingston he doesn't like him talking, or he's basically talking about Eddie Kingston, the issues they have. But Santana and Ortiz, they cut him off and say, hey, you may not care much for Eddie Kingston, but that's our guy, and we don't appreciate you talking about him that way. And this got Santana and Ortiz also to get pretty spicy with Jericho. First time that we've really seen any kind of, at least since the Guevara and MJF thing in the Inner Circle. But Santana and Ortiz actually had some words for Jericho and said that when was the last time that Jericho's actually had their back? And Jericho tried to intervene and try to explain himself, and they said, no, when was the last time you really seriously had our back? Maybe Eddie Kingston was right. Maybe you've been holding us back all along from being tag champs. And I'm thinking to myself, it's obvious. And it only took you guys 2 fucking years to figure it out. That, yes, Jericho, for the most part, this Inner Circle hasn't really, in my opinion, really done anything to really elevate. Maybe Sammy, I guess
you could say.
But it really hasn't done shit for Santana and Ortiz.
No, they've gotten buried on this whole thing.
I wouldn't say they've gotten buried, but I don't think that we've completely fulfilled what I know that they could do, or where they should be.
Absolutely. And they're not even in matches now on Dynamite. When's the last match they have been on Dynamite? I can't tell you. It's probably been a couple months.
I always see them advertised for the Dark and the Elevation shows. Yeah.
Not even on Rampage.
No. So hopefully this is the start of something in terms of the tide turning around for Santana and Ortiz to be in more. And I actually like the FTR thing. That was just unfortunately short-lived because of the injuries and all that stuff. But I actually enjoyed those matches in the feud that they had with FTR. It actually felt, even though there were no belts on the line, it felt
more.
That was a tag team title feud.
Yes.
They say that maybe next week they can prove that they don't need Jericho. They don't want Jericho anywhere near them during their match. They want to prove that they can actually do this on their own. So that's where we are. Adam Cole. We cut over to Adam Cole, who is very sick of Orange Cassidy and says that he's beaten Cassidy now every way that he can. But now this is more personal because of Cassidy putting Baker through the table. And next week, at Beach Break in Cleveland. There's going to be a no DQ, anything goes, lights out match. Now, this is coming up on a year of the last lights out match that we got, which involved his girlfriend, Britt Baker. I will say this. I feel like, number one, we already kind of had that kind of match earlier in the night between the mixed tag teams.
And every week.
There was no, we just had a ref, but they were still out there doing whatever the hell they wanted.
Yes,
they were setting up tables there. This fucking match was bonkers. There was no blood, though.
No.
So that's what you know. Here's my thing. Number one, you've already beat him twice.
Yeah, so there's, this is
and
like the Jericho style of fucking storytelling.
When have you ever known of a heel beating the babyface twice and still wanting some more?
Yeah.
Still wanting more. And PJ, I don't know about you, but it might not be a good idea to point out that you've already beaten the guy over and over before challenging him to another match. So
yeah, in that promo, that was confusing. I'm like, why the hell would you even mention that? You should have just went off the fact, you hurt my girl, I'm going to fucking beat your ass next week. You don't have to talk about, I already beat you. No.
I guess I'm just going to credit that to Cole. He was just moving and grooving. He was just moving and grooving.
Yes.
We get to our match now, CM Punk versus Shawn Spears. I've said this before. I think Shawn Spears has one of the coolest entrances in AEW. Here's the issue that I have with the cool entrance, that it's Shawn Spears' entrance.
Yes.
He teases you. Make you look at him like he's a big fucking deal. He's sitting there with the spotlight on him. He's sitting in the chair. He gets up. He folds up the chair. He walks down. He's got the cool fucking music, all that. And you're like, man, this is some good shit. And then the bell rings. And the bell rung, and this shit didn't go long at all. MJF on the commentary, and a quick GTS to the chairman in 12 seconds. And a lot of people on social media said that that's exactly how they like their Shawn Spears matches.
You're damn right, I'm with them.
Quick and easy.
Quick and easy, and Punk over. Perfect. That's all it needed to be.
This is all that this
Especially
match really
after
did.
the bullshit you gave us last week. Yes, this is exactly what needed to happen to just, make Punk look a little stronger and just everything like that. And for the storyline, yeah, this is perfect. The entrance was longer than the match.
It was, literally. After the match, Punk, he's posing. So MJF, Friedman tries to sneak in and hit Punk, only to have Punk jump around and catch him in enough time. He's able to at least grab the scarf, but MJF, he was able to bail out of the ring and escape and live to fight another day.
Perfect. So, that was perfect. Do the chicken shit thing. Yep. Oh, he got his scarf. Nobody got away. Perfect. That was awesome.
We get backstage. Again, we get Christian Cage, who is stopped by Mr. Ass. Does WWE, do they still hold trademark of that?
They might. What does Danhausen has a very creative way. I think he calls them the Sons of Ass, his kids.
Okay.
And he is the Ass Man.
Okay.
So he still refers to him as the Ass Man.
That's the Ass Man. Well, It's Billy Gunn who stops Christian Cage in the back. Says that his sons, the Gunn boys, he feels they've earned a tag team title shot against Jurassic Express. And Cage, who's alone, and so is Gunn at this point, says that, well, he's got no problem with that. But the issue with his boys is that unlike their father had a pretty good career, they've yet to make a statement to earn it. So when his boys make a statement, then they'll talk. Well, cue the Gunn Club, who proceed to catch Christian from behind, and Billy joins in, and they whip his ass, and they send him head first into a steel door. And Billy, I enjoyed this. This was one of the top things I actually enjoyed about this show. And, I would like for the Gunn Club to be on national TV a little bit more consistently and build up a winning streak and show more of that vicious side for me to really take them serious as tag team title contenders. I thought this looked good. I just think it's unfortunate that I can't buy one bit they're going to win the match when it does happen. Yeah. But I think their dad, as their mouthpiece, that shit works because his kids are smaller. I think Billy can be not only the mouthpiece, but he can be the muscle for his two boys. So I think this is also an upgrade over what they've had Billy Gunn and the Gun Club doing over the last however many months.
Well, it's been better than the last year when they had to sing the goddamn Judas song in the front row and they were acting like assholes. I mean, just jackasses during the whole pandemic shows. And you're like, well, who the hell? Why? And they were just sitting there and abusing them. Now you've given them an edge. You're making them heels. Who knows? Road Dogg has put it out there. He's accepting things. He's not going to work, he said, so he's not going to get into the ring. But you could have him and Dad help groom these guys, help coach them with a little edge. New Age Outlaws, I've heard, they might be putting in a trademark for that.
They got to be able to do it on the mic, too.
Yep.
If we're going to groom them to be next level.
So if, I'm for it right now. Build it up, and like you said, perfect attack on Christian. It looked pretty badass and reminded me of the old Attitude Era beatdowns in the back.
And I just loved it. Was it was just nice to see the heels get their heat and be able to live and laugh and talk about it.
Yep.
It wasn't Jurassic Express coming in at the last second to save. No. Let Christian get his ass whipped.
Yeah.
He's cleared now.
Yeah,
He can take the licks.
He took a big one.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got to give some to get some. He got cleared to compete. Well, he can't be cleared from taking these ass whippings from the Gun Club.
Exactly.
All right, our next segment, the other big return.
Oh.
Gone for a long week, baby.
Yes.
Gone long enough that we decided to build and make a whole nother TNT title that we're calling the Interim, which Sammy Guevara currently has. Cody Rhodes. He comes down to the ring. He gets booed immediately as soon as he comes out. He's standing on the stage. He's trying to get everyone riled up. He comes down to the ring, and we get an immediate picture-in-picture. So as the picture-in-picture is going on, we see him at ringside, and he immediately grabs a big fucking 15-foot ladder and puts it in the ring, sets it up. And I told you.
Yes, he did.
I told you that this was where they had to have been going the entire time to create this whole interim TNT title and to get Cody in something that would make you, in their hopes, to get you to give a fuck.
No.
We're going to get a ladder match out of this.
Yeah.
But anyways, he sets it up. And then I will at least say the Moxley promo at the beginning, even though it started eerie and I was like, okay, John, where are we going? It at least rebounded and you took it for what it was supposed to be. This fucking promo here, dude, it seemed like your typical John Cena type 2010 WWE promo.
But John Cena's over.
But he was over.
John Cena.
He was already the
star.
household name, and John. Whether you agree with the promos or not, John said it in a way he made it work because he came across like he actually believed in this shit. The Cody stuff, it just seems so contrived and so
correct.
The fucking through the river and over the river and through the woods to fucking get to grandma's house. That's what I get out of these Cody promos. Anyways. He talks about the CM Punk pipe bomb,
which you don't need to tell us about.
No,
we know it. Even the fans tuning in, a good majority of them that watch it, they know the Punk promo. You don't have to give us a story about it.
This is it came across again also with Cody as a very self-conscious promo, and he talked about CM Punk with the pipe bomb, which was the beginning of a revolution. And then he also name dropped some other guys in there as well in terms of AEW. He said some things about Punk, the things that Punk said in that pipe bomb. It was the blueprint for what AEW would eventually do. He paused. I guess he thought he was going to get some claps, and he got negative chants. And then he started talking about how Punk made the comeback of the decade, and we're all living it. And then he continued to start yelling and carrying on about the revolution. He dropped in, and it was like at that point he was grasping for straws, just throwing out guys that he knew that the crowd would like. He talked about Jay Lethal. He said, Ricky Starks, my good friend, my great friend behind the scenes. Everyone know that,
a heel.
Yes.
But I'm not going to turn heel, which again he said later in the promo.
Yes.
But he mentioned Ricky Starks, and I'm like, Yeah, the guy at Team
He
Taz.
broke down the wall. Yeah, the guy that everyone knows that I'm really good friends with. He's right now, he's barking up the wrong trees, messing with Jay Lethal, and he was, putting
best
over Jay
cutter
Lethal.
in the business or Jay. Now,
yeah, he
come
talked
on,
about that.
no.
Yeah, I mean, he dropped the New Japan. Yeah. He dropped the Ring of Honor name. He dropped the Jay Lethal. He threw out there Malakai Black. He was giving Malakai Black the same guy.
They blinded him, or he was going to retire his boots and shit.
So,
and then Brody King can't be named Brody because if you're named Brody in this company, you've got balls. Some balls. It's
yes.
like, well, blame his fucking mom. I don't know.
So he goes on carrying on about the Revolution and says, you asked me why I won't turn heel. This is also a continuing
we don't
thing
ask.
in Cody promos. He's breaking down these walls a little bit too much. He's trying to. I guess this is his way of being edgy. But he says that the reason that he won't turn heel it's because they cheered him when he needed it the most. He talked about the Forbidden Door, and he talked about that there are wrestlers elsewhere. And he started calling off the Gunner McGillicuddies or whatever it is. He was gone for 2 weeks, and there's the interim TNT title. Like, it took forever for him to finally get to the point of what we needed. Very reminiscent to the Anthony Ogogo.
And I think this was worse.
Oh, I thought it was.
I mean, the Ogogo one was bad when he was trying to make it racial and country versus country and everything else. This got even worse because
he talks about how fans have been taught to believe that any title without the world in it doesn't matter, all that stuff. He finally turns the promo to what this was really should have been about the entire time. I mean, and he also, kind of gave the innuendos about him not working, or him working without a contract.
Okay, well, I suppose they have to put that up because they're throwing that out there.
It's
not like they're not hiding that fact. I'm sure they're doing that for storylines.
Yeah, talks about how he wants to face Sammy Guevara in a ladder match at Beach Break for the undisputed title. And look, everyone knew what Cody was trying to say in this promo, but again, it was all over the place. Like, man, just one. And I told you earlier, between Moxley dropping the F-bomb and the S-bomb and Cody being all over the place, this unfortunately, and I don't like it necessarily, but this is unfortunately justification for New York to have scripted promos.
Or at least have bullet points of hit this, I mean,
good Lord.
Go home with this.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, this shit was just,
This was fucking terrible.
Now, of course, a ladder match, it's never, in my opinion, a played-out way to unify titles. I just don't feel that Cody and Guevara have that kind of exchange at this point, or that kind of a feud that would justify a ladder match. And okay, let's just say they're not cutting promos. Let's just say they're not vicious towards each other.
Yeah.
This would be more justifiable if Cody was gone for 3 or 4 months.
Yes.
And he could come back and say, hey, you guys just think you can just move on? I never lost this damn belt. Da-da-da. Let's settle it and let's see who the real champ. Something like that. But this, dude, you were gone for 1 week.
Correct. You got COVID. You were gone. You did the 5 days now that CDC says.
And I feel like...
So you got to come back a little earlier. I'll let you go, but yeah.
No, I'm just going to say, I feel like Cody made us also be all over the place. Described his damn promo. It was another Cody promo, basically not making much sense until the very end. So there's that right there. Jade Cargill in the back with Marvez. It's her, Mark Sterling, and we get Anna Jay.
And now we had the Cody. Just to set it up, Cody was at the top of the hour to turn over to 8 o'clock. He was at the beginning half of that. Then you come out of that contrived thing, and you come to this. And we both said if we didn't do the podcast, the damn channel would have been off right here.
I didn't mind seeing Jade Cargill. I just didn't understand. It was like, okay, so we get Giant Silver starting this off, or actually Mark Sterling, who starts it off and said they are more than happy to give Anna Jay the air-quoted challenge for the TBS championship. And so John Silver, he gets on the mic to put Anna Jay over, and then we turn it over to Anna Jay, who talks about, number one, they may mention the fact, John Silver did, the fact that she is the number 2 in the rankings.
Correct. So who the fuck's number 1?
Well, this belt was just won a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So how are we determining? Because I haven't seen Anna Jay in singles action
must
really
be the
since
Dark and Elevation rankings that we've got to start watching that.
Anna Jay says that she is willing to do whatever it takes to win the TBS championship because she wrapped barbed wire around her arms in order to win a match just a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Anyways, we get this match set.
When I heard the Anna Hungry line, I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah, we got that out of Silver. We get to our next match. I think, look, Malakai Black, I thought his entrance, everything about him already in AEW, I felt they brought him in with an impact. I think he's got a cool entrance, but, of course, we change it up now because we got Kings of the Black Thorn. It's he and Brody King now. And they were going to be in tag team action versus the Varsity Blondes. All that everyone wanted to know at this point is this the week? Is this where we see Julia Hart turn on the Varsity Blondes and take the eye patch off and join forces with Black and King? Well, this was a very quick match, and the Varsity Blondes are not really on the same page at all. Brody shoves Garrison around to start this thing, sends him to the outside. Now it's off to Pillman, and that doesn't work either. And
yes,
this was a
JR line came.
So JR, by the way, man, he sounds like maybe he needs more time off. I feel like the last couple of weeks, JR.
But the line where he's like, well, maybe Brian Pillman Jr. will get his ass in the ring against Brody when they were having that argument.
We get the Varsity Blondes on the outside of their car. They're arguing a bit. Brody King, he comes from around the corner and he throws Garrison or pushes him into the steps. Yeah. So get back into the ring, and Black, he sweeps Pillman's leg so Garrison can hit a backsplash. Garrison then he gets taken out again with the Dante Inferno finish. That actually finished off Pillman.
Yeah.
Sorry. This match was barely 2 minutes. I don't even think it was officially. Yeah. This was really designed to get us to where we needed to go, which was Pac.
Did we need to go here, though?
Well,
this looks fucking weird, too, at the end.
Well, Black tells the House of Black to rise, which was the audience, and the crowd seemed to be into it until we get a video that pops on the screen of Pac, who is still blind. He's got a damn do-rag.
He's got the full wrap.
He's
not just the one patch that he had to work with 5 months ago.
Says even though he can't see, he is beyond Black's reach. And so we end scene there.
Once again with AEW, weren't they supposed to be about insurance wrestlers and all that shit? They have some pretty shitty optometrists. They're recommending these jackass fucking eye patches that you get at the Halloween store. You would think they would have the top-of-the-line doctors because that's what they were all about, giving those wrestlers insurance. They've got to recheck that because they got some shitty plans.
Moving on, we get a video package that's supposed to shed a light on the world title angle right now of Lance Archer and Hangman Page. We see Jake Roberts again. It's the first time we've seen Jake in some months.
Yeah.
He's got a new deal, so he's been able to. Is he still living with DDP right now?
I don't know. I mean, I thought that was the setup.
He's been getting paid. He signed a contract extension last year, and he didn't even know that one was going to be coming. So they hooked Jake up, and so he's been chilling at the crib. And Archer has been on and off. Archer's been dealing with some injuries and working other dates on the indies. But Roberts, we see him. He returns and says Archer is ready for Hangman Page. Now, during this, we get a wide shot. We see Roberts with Archer, and Dan Lambert's also in this too.
And that made no sense.
So he doesn't need two guys. So my question for you was, are they going to have Roberts pass the torch and have Archer be with Lambert? Which that in itself, I think, last that we had seen Archer on AEW programming consistently, he was being taken out by Lambert's boys.
That's right, he was. I almost forgot about that. But with Lambert, you would think, I could see it because he really needs a badass on his team. He doesn't have any. He has a bunch of losers on his team. They don't win shit. He needs a badass
granted, we didn't
guy.
really see. We only saw America Top Team just to work them in with the inner circle. That was the only time.
Yeah,
but with Paige and Skye, I get what you're saying.
But but he needs an actual wrestler who can win a fucking match. I cannot tell you the last time America's Top Team won a damn match.
Well, Archer could barely win one himself, as we would see
that too.
In a little bit. Backstage, we get again. We get Ricky Romero and Trent to come in, and they steal Brandon Cutler's camera, who he was going to be setting up, and they use that to challenge the Young Bucks to a match on Rampage, which they talked about how they beat the Bucks in Japan, and they can do it again. And Cutler thinks that the Bucks are going to kill him, but Romero tells him to turn the camera off. We ended up getting a video package, as a matter of fact, the tease Rampage of what's going to be going on there. Khan was able to secure and score some New Japan footage to kind of get you up to speed and kind of show you the back history of these teams going at it. So
I had no idea. I think a lot of us had no idea. So
all right, so we get our match. We see Lance Archer again. This time it's against Frankie Kazarian that we haven't seen in a while. They make a big deal about Kazarian having 61 wins under his belt. Archer comes out with both Jake Roberts and Dan Lambert.
Yeah.
Okay. Archer hammered him down before the bell, and then he stood on Kazarian's neck, and that beat down that continued with Archer slowly pounding away. Kazarian, he couldn't get anything going at all, and he gets dropped again, and we end up taking a break. We come back from the break, and we catch now Archer cursing at the crowd. You could hear him drop an F-bomb as well to what seemed like it was to a fan.
Yeah.
That sent Kazarian also. He sent Kazarian chest first into the buckle. And Kazarian was, trying to give him some offense. There were spots here where it seemed like Archer could really run away from Kazarian and pull away and get this thing finally ended, but Kazarian wouldn't die easily. We get a blackout that gets broken up by Kazarian finally, and then that wasn't enough. Archer was able to choke slam Kazarian down, and he finished him off. It was about 10 minutes. 10 minutes too fucking long. Yeah. And my thing is, if the Punk Spears match, if that was 12, this should have been 6. You know what this match did? It made me now not give a shit about Paige versus Archer.
I know.
Not that I did to begin with.
Yeah.
But this match went way too long and didn't really make Archer look like the monster that he should be going into this program with Paige.
Yeah, you're going into a champ. You're going in with the world champ. You want to look very strong and like you've got a chance of beating him.
Should have been a 2-3 minute match at the most.
Yeah, even though we know Archer ain't going to win that program at all. It's probably going to be Punk, down the line against
Makes
Paige.
me wonder if they had time issues. You talked about it.
I think they did. I think that's why they made him go longer. But then at the end of the show, you would see, well, I don't know if they went long enough or what, because there was still time to fill at the end. Yeah. But, yeah, way too long for this, and it made Archer just, I don't know, look like, oh, you're really going to try challenge for the title again? Well, we've seen this before. You lose.
After the match, Lambert, he goes on another promo rant on Cowboy, on Hangman Page. Archer cuts him off, though, because he says that he's sick of this shit, so we get another swear bomb that wasn't. So even more swearing. So at this point, pretty much
TBS is going to it eventually, I think they're going to say, guys, we got to cut her back a little bit.
Archer's not ready to let Kazarian go just yet, though. He's getting ready to load up for another choke slam, this time on the ramp. But then we get Hangman Page out for the save. Look, and this also got squeezed at a much later time in the show. It wasn't the very beginning, and it wasn't the end. It just got stuck in there.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like this was not a priority at all. Like, they treated it like it wasn't. Hangman comes in for the save. He gets kneeled down. And Archer's getting ready to attack him, but he's able to pull off one of his cowboy boots and blast Archer in the head that sends him in the ring. Get a buckshot lariat that gets blocked. So Paige forearms him out to the floor, and he stands tall. They look on. So that's how that ended. But again, this whole match kind of like gave me inklings that maybe they're ready to just have Roberts pass the torch of Archer over to Lambert, because
maybe he's got to do something with him.
Afterwards, we go backstage again. Dante Martin says that he is ready for Team Taz. He is backstage with Lee Moriarty and Matt Sydal, who both give him fist pumps and say that while his brother, until he gets back, they're going to have his back. And they give him these really cheesy, insincere, I thought, fist bumps, which tells me that maybe Lee and Sydal don't have Martin's best interests at heart. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We flip it over to Team Taz. It's Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks, who say they're going to prove that Martin is all alone because he'll need someone to watch his every side. We go now, another backstage segment, and we get Kris Statlander and Red Velvet, who are standing next to Tony Schiavone, who's trying to get a word with Statlander. Statlander, I'm going to assume she didn't want to say anything to Tony because she knows that Britt Baker is Tony's homegirl. So she stayed silent. Yeah. And as this goes on, Layla Hirsch, she breaks up the interview, and she's complaining about their loss from last Friday and still calls Statlander very selfish and all of that. Red Velvet tries to intervene and tries to be peacemaker again and says that it was all miscommunication. She turns back around, and that's when Layla Hirsch decides to basically nail Red Velvet in the back of the fucking head. Then all of a sudden, now Statlander wants to talk.
Yes.
And Layla Hirsch gave it to Statlander as well and put her in an arm bar. End scene. This was also one of my favorite parts of the damn show.
I was going to say, this is probably the best segment of the show.
Been waiting for Layla Hirsch to finally snap.
Yep, and it happened. Finally.
So... next match, we get a quick match, actually. It barely went a couple of minutes, maybe about close to 3 minutes. We get Serena Deeb versus Skye Blue. We just got a Serenity lock in this, and I'm fine with it. I mean, there's no Sheeta for the time being, which it looks like she's back home in Japan.
Yeah,
working some dates.
They're really
going to play this whole attack thing from Deeb. Yes. We get another backstage segment. We see Dan Lambert again.
Yeah,
this time he's with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. They want the big match on Rampage, at least Page does. And he tells Tony Khan to put the franchise player in. He wants Moxley. So this whole promo between Lambert and Page, Skye didn't really say anything. He sat there with the hood on his head and the shades on. Page and Lambert. Page did most of the talking. Said that he wants Moxley. So that's exactly what he's going to get this Friday on Rampage. We get a video of Hook. So they did a good job putting Hook over. He's going to be back on Rampage on Friday. That should basically be the Hook show.
And that match should be about 30 seconds on who he's taking on.
We saw some things that kind of irked us in this show. This might have been the worst. And the worst meaning it was also very gut-busting funny as well. Because I ran to you, cracking the fuck up. I had tears in my eyes.
It was just too terrible for me to find funny.
We get Matt Hardy in the Hardy family office. The Blade and the Butcher were in this shot, too. So I guess the Butcher is back.
His band disbanded?
Yes, I guess the lead singer just went ape shit. He's got all kinds of issues. So we get the Blade, the Butcher, the Bunny, Private Party. You get that whole crew there. Fucking group of losers, unfortunately. Yes. Two of my favorite teams, too, in AEW.
Doing business deals with a guy that can barely speak English.
So Matt Hardy explains that he has signed Andrade and has given him now 51% of the Hardy family office, but he is still going to be in charge of the board of directors. Andrade has also been named president as well. So now they will be going by AHFO, and now they want Darby Allin.
Why?
This shit is
terrible.
Let's move on. Speaking of Darby Allin, he and Sting in the main event versus the Acclaimed. Before we got into the match, we get another spoof segment from the Acclaimed, this time in the middle of the street. We didn't get a freestyle with this one. We didn't get a music video because they were already going to be coming out to cut their traditional freestyle. But we got someone, it was not Caster as Sting. It was someone else they had in the car playing the role of Sting. And we had Anthony Bowens playing the role again of Darby Allin. He's got the skateboard.
And the scooter.
The scooter. Yeah, and he's struggling with it a little bit in the streets. He gets ran over, and this is just... So we get into this thing. The Acclaimed, they come out, they cut their promo, and they make references of Starrcade 97 that got some pops. They made, they did their usual Acclaimed stuff. And the Acclaim, they jumped both Sting and Darby Allin before the bell, in which Tony Schiavone, he went on to elaborate on Starrcade 1997, where he says that he still can't explain the event. A chair immediately gets wrapped around Darby Allin's neck, and Caster whips him into the ring post. So he's out. They've got the medical crew coming to check on Darby. So
which
this
told you what was going to happen.
What was going to happen in this match, but that left Sting to fend for himself. Sting, he's back up as the medics check on Allin, and he's willing to fight on his own. So Sting then takes the Acclaim down to start, but then the Stinger Splash, that hits an exposed buckle that gives Bowens a 2 count. We took a break and come back. Sting is putting Caster in the deathlock, and Bowens hits a discus forearm, but Sting didn't sell it. He yelled and reared back on it a little bit more, and which a super kick was apparently enough to break it up, but then Allin came back into the match to make the Hail Mary save, and then he gets taken down again. So then we get the mic drop. That was only good enough to give Caster a 2. Sting then backdrops Bowens over the top, splashes Caster through a table at ringside. You can never say that Sting ain't willing to earn his keep and his paycheck in AEW. It was cheesy. It didn't look all that spectacular, but it was like, whatever. The crowd was into it, and to me, that's what it's all about. Fans start chanting the whole "you still got it."
Going through a table, you still got it.
I don't...
Buffalo Bills fans would be fucking over with this crowd.
We get a coffin drop that finishes Anthony Bowens up. This main event didn't even go 10 minutes.
They shit on the Acclaim because the old guy can fend him off while Darby's out, really.
Well, he's still Sting at the end of the day, sir.
I know, but
he's still Sting. And we knew that the Acclaim were not winning this fucking match anyways. And it was another way to get them to throw the smoke and mirrors in there because it's a Sting match, and he was going to be in there by himself, and he's not a spring chicken anymore. So, I mean, smoke and mirrors, I wasn't offended by this match by any means. It was what it was supposed to be. I just said that as I'm watching this, I felt like I was watching Friday Night Rampage.
Yeah, that's kind of what I had the feel of it.
With this win, I think they're undefeated as a team. You would think that since we always go off the rankings, that Sting and Darby have got to be number one for the tag team
but do they count their
now,
trios record with Moxley? I mean, what is going into the ranking system and all that? Yeah, who the hell knows?
I don't know. Your grade for AEW Dynamite, I give it
an F the week before, and it didn't really get any better this week. I'm at that F area again.
All right, I'll give them a C+ on this. I felt there were a lot of misses here and a lot of bullshit that didn't need to be on camera, like the Hardy family office and Andrade.
Cut some of that shit out.
Honestly, if you would have kept that off TV this week, people wouldn't have missed it at all.
Where was FTR? Where is Rusev? I'll still call him Rusev. I know he's injured, but you still got to get these starts. No Danielson, nothing backstage
it's a big
with
time
Danielson.
Miss. Thought the show was a big time miss.
He can record shit. I mean, even if you're not going to use them, somehow get your stars on those vignettes instead of some of the stuff you're working with. So that's something hopefully they can do on future shows.
Start off promising. It was good to see Moxley back.
Yes, yeah.
The whole all over the place Cody promo.
And then we got a Cody match we got to look for next week, which the crowd will boo the shit out of him, the whole damn thing, and they'll be cheering Sammy. I mean, that's predictable.
I don't want to, go off the deep end. I'm not trying to jump off the window here and say that they're having a trend that's going into a bad direction, but hopefully Beach Break next week will kind of clear some of the clutter up and we can get ready to go.
No, it's not. We're having a Beach Break event in fucking Cleveland in January. Who the fuck decided that?
Good point.
I mean, yeah, Beach Break.
I got nothing
Cleveland,
to add on that.
January. That's a hell of a venue to have it at.
All right. This has been your AEW Dynamite review for January 19th, 2022. Leave your thoughts and comments. Let us know what you thought of the show. For Slade,
PJ,
be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts and social media. Follow us. Promise we'll follow back at Bush League MS Pod. We'll be back at you again in another couple of days because we got to give you a review and some news and tidbits, but most importantly, a review of SmackDown and Rampage. We'll follow up on how that Moxley match with Ethan Page is going to be. Yes. We got the Bucks versus Trent and Ricky Romero and Hook. We'll give you all of that, and plus trending news has been going on in pro wrestling throughout the week. We'll catch you then.